So Jamaica, this works a lot better. I like this format too.
Yeah, it's much better than the last platform.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah, it works good. Easy to get on. I've done a lot of Zoom meetings, and it's just great what you can do with it. During it, send messages, etc. But this is a great platform.
yeah, that's good. All right, I believe we are live now, live streaming to Facebook. So I'm going to start off by saying good evening to everybody. All of our poets are here, and I'm so thankful that everyone who's joining us tonight and to see your faces and hear your voices. It's been a couple months, and I missed you all. And I should first start off by saying to any audience who's watching, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the poetry this evening. I also want to give a shout out to Love City Community Network, who's sponsoring the event by helping me out with some high-speed internet that I otherwise could not afford. So thank you to Love City Community Network for that. So this evening we have a great lineup of poets. I'm very excited to begin the night, and I hope all of you are. So this evening we will start off with Mr. Dietz, or Adeto, and he is joining us from St. Thomas. So Adeto, you are up, and welcome.
All right, good night, everyone. Good night. My poem that I created is called Say Something. Everyone has a chance to speak. Some has a minute to show their peak. When it's moved by choice or opinion, it feels as the best action for dominion. Reaching for one's attention to claim, yet no words to take the hit and aim. Remain silent till your chance flew you by. Your thoughts are heavy, you set them out to fly. When you finally let it out, will that person listen? Will you ask on what you shall receive when it's given? When you're ready, what kind of scheme of color will be in shade? Will the feelings be mutual enough, or they will end up in fade? Be the first to step in and amend your freedom of speech. Don't be bound by your way of thinking, just preach. Mold yourself or others to gain the flow to help justify. Star your figure in the spotlight to specify. Be free and sing the melody from the birdcage. Go and take a leaf in your own story as a web page. Maybe someday you will start anew with your right wing, as long as you will be able to stand tall and say something.
I love it. I think that's my favorite one you've done so far, Rhyme and Lime. So good job.
Thank you.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
And the message is clear. So beautiful. Do you have another one to share tonight?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Because the reason why I had to go first is because I'm supposed to have a family call, at least something like that. So cousin was calling, needed to talk to me, so that's why I wanted to go first, because I probably might not stay long.
Yeah, no, that's good. Good, important to speak with the family for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, and what was the title of that poem?
Say Something.
Okay, I love it. Really good. Thank you for sharing, and yeah, stay on as long as you can, and enjoy the poetry.
All right. I'll be
right.
back with y'all.
Thanks, Adeto.
No problem.
Thank you. Love that poem. So up next we have Pamela New, and we've missed her the past couple months. She didn't make it to our Rhyme and Lime, so love to see her here tonight with us. Please welcome Pamela.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, super. Two poems this evening. Yeah, just to precede my poems with the fact that life has been feeling hard, and I'm sure it's been feeling hard for all of us. I think the fact that I'm here means that I'm feeling a little bit more resilient, but my poetry does not attest to that, but here we go. Today, I am as ungrounded as a flock of wheeling starlings, my head 1,000 chirps, a cacophony of half-asked questions and unfinished thoughts. The sotto voce staccato of my little girl, dog's only pitched keening, wrapped in my oh so adult, come on Pamela, pull your shit together. 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out, breath. Yes, many of us have our less anchored days as we look to a future we never imagined would, should, could even be a whispered possibility. So that's that first one, a jolly little poem for you.
I can definitely relate.
I know. And the second one is actually one that I wrote just last week after having spoken to my mother. My parents are elderly and live in South Africa. The poem is entitled Remnants, Half a World Away. My heart is soaking up this remnant rain, a dull ache of distance-laden longing. A WhatsApp call with my mother, half a world away. The ring pulling her from her ironing board, and I can smell the heat and steam as she presses that silly crease down the front of her jeans, her radio chat show for company. Half a world away. We talk of marauding baboons down from mountains, monstrous humans who consider the land more theirs than the creatures, whose legacy goes back long before people walked the Fynbos valleys. Half a world away. A trip up the wild coast, plan to see flowers and seabirds will break the monotony for these elder adventurers stuck in viral solitude with their dogs, books, socially distanced coffees with octogenarian close friends and hellos from the fence to neighbors. My dad briefly reveling in televised cricket series, but now back to his lazy boy and books. Half a world away. Half a world away. This grey, all-day, intermittent rain, drizzle rain with dogs blissful in my enforced company, no going out even to garden today. My now is here, but my daughter heart is half a world away. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Pamela. I love them both. And I do want to say that, you know, I know when you first came in and you said, how are you doing? And, you know, my just immediate, I just have that trigger response of just, I'm good, how are you, you know? And it's just, you know, I think everyone's going through a hard time, and I know I am. And sometimes I just, you know, it's not shown. And, you know, somebody asks me, how are you? And I just have that response, and it's not an honest response. But you know, at the same time, I don't want to be spilling my life story out either when somebody asks, how are you? But thank you for sharing, and I can definitely relate, especially to the first one, and of course to missing my family overseas as well. So thank you, Pamela.
Thanks.
Up next, hey Andy, is it okay if Khalarni goes on before you?
Absolutely. I'm in no hurry now. The kids aren't home yet.
Okay. All right. We're going to do Khalarni up next while he's available. So Khalarni's joining us from his car. He's on the road. But so glad to have you, Khalarni, as always. And everyone, please welcome Khalarni.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, so this first one, I don't have a title. I'm really bad with titles, but hopefully you like it. Some nights it seems like there's no eye to eye inside of these four walls between these two souls whose egos keep clashing like the fuzzy socks on my feet. Cold, breezy nights lead to crazy fights that go on and on and on until we forget whose line it was anyway. Many a days I do contemplate leaving, but those thoughts are short-lived. Just a smidge that gets wiped off by the array of amazing that sums up our relationship, our love and hating ship, setting sail across the uncharted water that is love. And amidst these murky waters, she is my beacon of hope, the symbol of my newfound strength, centered in trust and faithfulness. No lust can break our strength or bond unbending. Cemented by shared affirmations and daily meditations, you see, conflict is just a measly obligation. These arguments, a small offering, needed to fortify our temple. So I fear not the destruction that this current hurricane brings. Rather, I remain optimistic of what new paths this passing storm will present.
Thank you. Such a inspiring, hopeful poem. Good to hear. Love it. And are you another one?
One more. Yeah.
Great.
All right.
You got to name that. You got to title that the other one though.
Yeah, I know. I always do the titles last. You know, I write it and then I come up with a title afterwards.
That's a good way.
All right. So this next one. I was higher than the sun when I realized that me and my mind were not the same. And definitely not always on the same side. It's just something about that space and time that allowed me to reconnect with the great divine. I learned that my mind was like a German shepherd. A German shepherd that needed to be trained and groomed and saturated with love, or else it'd be doomed to bark at every stranger that crosses the street, or crosses me wrong, or crosses my heart, or crosses me up in basketball. My German shepherd, left untrained, would chase its tail over and over and over until it would be too tired to chase anything at all. And so began my training. Every morning began with positive sayings. Khalarni, you are smart, you are wise, you are worthy, you are kind. And each time I began to believe myself just a little bit more. My daily interactions engulf captions from the four agreements. Now my promises are impeccable, my psyche impenetrable, meaning whatever negativity you spout from your mouth, I refuse to take it personally. I assume with less urgency, but ask several questions to satisfy my mind's many suggestions. But when these suggestions bark too loud and begin to shout, as they often do, I say, sit down, boy. Good boy. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalarni. Lovely poems. Thanks so much for squeezing us in here tonight.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So we will, just checking our lineup here. Okay. Up next, Thomas, are you ready?
Thanks, Jamaica. I've
Yes.
got two brief poems. One's by a poet named Adrian Rich, most of you will have heard of maybe. It's called For the Dead. I dreamed I called you on the telephone to say, be kinder to yourself, but you were sick and would not answer. The waste of my love goes on this way, trying to save you from yourself. I have always wondered about the leftover energy, the way water goes rushing down a hill long after the rains have stopped, or the fire you want to go to bed from but cannot leave, burning down but not burnt down, the red coals more extreme, more curious in their flashing, more extreme or curious in their flashing and dying than you wish they were, sitting long after midnight.
And this is a title poem from my first book called Skating with Heather Grace. Apart from the apparent values, I should say one of the jobs of a dad back in the mid 80s when this was written was to take one's children to the roller skating rink and teach them to go around and around in circles. And my job, of course, was to be always encouraging. And I noticed early on how in the start, they start in the middle with tiny, tiny circles, and then they'd begin to widening the circles until they were really going wall to wall. And they got quite brave. And it seemed a little bit to me like how one grows up and away from the family that is their sort of anchorage. Skating with Heather Grace. Apart from the apparent values, there are lessons in the circular. Paradigms for history, time and around world turning, love with another of your species. To watch my only daughter widening her circles is to ease headlong into the traffic of her upbringing. Until nearly 4, she screamed at my absence, mourned my going out for any reason, cried at scoldings, agreed to common lies regarding thunder, Christmas, baby teeth. Last year, she started school without incident. This year, ballet and new math. Soon, I think my love will seem entirely deficient. Later, there's the hokey pokey and dim lights for the partners' dance. She finds a shaky 9-year-old to skate around in counterclockwise orbits, laughing. Is it more willingness than balance? Is letting go the thing that keeps her steady? I lean against the sideboard, sipping coffee. I keep a smile ready. There you go, Jamaica.
Thank you, Thomas. I definitely, it's funny, you reminded me, I don't know if that's something that they still do, but I remember, 9 years old going to the roller skating rink and some fun young memories there, going round and round, and my parents taking me. So thanks for that. And I do want to say, I know the first poem, perhaps, with the passing of your sister. Again, my condolences to you and your family. And
it was actually the passing of my daughter, the young woman that poem was written for. But thank you, Jamaica.
Okay.
I've known of your condolences for more than a month now, and condolences uphold us. They really do. So I'm grateful to you.
Okay. All right. Well, my love to you, and thanks again for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Andy. Andy, are you ready?
I'm ready, Jamaica.
Grandchildren free?
Yeah, they went fishing off the Cruise Bay dock there, and they catch some red snappers and then throw them back in again. So it's a lot of fun for them. But then I got
Nice.
Friday night excitement during, Corona. But speaking of Corona, I, had the opportunity to pick through a bunch of old boxes and things because, we're, sort of isolated now. And I found some older poems and something I wrote that I think is a combination calypso and poem. Again, I write for people. So the first poem is about my niece's marriage. And the second one is about the loss of a friend. So, and then the third one I think you might enjoy, which is a little bit longer, but it's a version on it's fun. So anyway, the first one is for my niece, Laura, who married many years back, and it is Laura's love. Laura's love will surely last. Those uncertain choices, now the past. Laura's heart, now full of joy, mind and body she gives to this boy. How did she know the one for her? By the touch of his hand and the beat of her heart. In sacred vows, their love is bound, while friends and family gather round. For this marriage to be forever, you must always trust one another. The months and years will quickly pass, but Laura's love will surely last. So, short one, but again, I write for people. I write for people. And this one is a loss of a good friend. And like I said, I write it for people. If only we could understand what gentle breeze took his hand. As we did our daily chores, his body fell, his spirit soared. If only we could change his fate, only he could choose his date. As we mourn our heart's empty space, his soul is in God's hands and grace. If only we could have him back, his troubled soul made him act. As we suffer our guilt and pain, he left his body for his spirit to remain. If only we could know both worlds, at the moment of death no mystery holds. As we gather our memories to share, he gives us a family raised with loving care. If only he could tell us why, our conscience could rest and our souls could cry. So now to the fun. This needs a little history, which is that I was invited to participate in a contest, Mr. Senior. It was several years back. And, you know, I thought I was a little too young to be called a senior at the time, but I entered it and it was sponsored in the Virgin Islands and, you know, by the Democratic Party. So it was a real big local event. So you had to sing a calypso and write one. You had to dance and you had to tell a story, of which then they judged and you won or lost. So my calypso, really, which is a poem, was written for that and actually won. And it's called The Mighty White Boy. For years, I've wanted to take the stage to sing a calypso that starts a rage. I studied all the masters of Kaiso might, great songs and lyrics they sing and write. With names like Sparrow, Kitchener, Blakey, I had to come up with a name for me. I thought for days and many weeks, looking for a catchy name, both bold and meek. With Mango Jones and the Mighty Whitey known, I searched for a name completely my own. I remember all of our St. John Lime, Bumpy, Blackie, Banana, and mine. Who gave me this name, I do not recall, but soon it became known by all. So here tonight, where Calypso brings joy, I want to be known as the Mighty White Boy. So the Mighty White Boy is here tonight to challenge all in a Calypso fight. Now that I have joined Donna Storg and White to use Calypso to say what is not right, my songs will be sharp like pointed daggers, aimed at all political and social matters. In 50 years, I have grown deep roots. Friendships and family have borne sweet fruits. We have mixed our blood, sweat, and tears, shared our bread, and comforted our fears. Many times our people have come together, helping each other through storms and bad weather. We blamed each other with pointed fingers, while crime and poverty and bigotry still lingers. When will our people open their eyes, listen carefully, and recognize our strength lies in working together with a promise of justice and fairness forever? So, the Whitey White Boy is here tonight to challenge all in a Calypso fight. When Mrs. Ida White gave me a call, inviting me to this Mr. Senior brawl, I wonder if I looked that old. My wife was shocked when she was told. But after thinking about the chance to show off my talents in song and dance. Now no one could hold me back, and I planned my father's day's attack. My competition is talented for sure, known for dancing and songs so pure. So, Mr. Williams, Davis, and Benjamin, tonight the mighty white boy has come to win. Thank you all for your laughter and fun. And when you vote, please make me number one. The mighty white boy is here tonight to win this Mr. Senior Calypso fight. So, Calypso turned poem, but it was a fun event. And I didn't win, by the way. I came second, but the crowd felt I won by all their acclamations and applause. So I feel, and that's why I'm on your show, because I always want to do something new, throw myself out there, and I have learned a great amount of poetry and style from your poets. They've really helped me, because I am an absolute, amateur at it and have been, but love it. So thank you.
They're great poems, a nice variety there, and nice to end on a cheerful Calypsonian note. I'll just take a minute to just say that it's been such a great past year. It's been almost a year since we first started Rhyme and Lime at Bajo El Sol Gallery in St. John, Cruz Bay. For those of you joining us who are not familiar with the history. So I believe we had our first Rhyme and Lime in October of 2019 at the gallery. So we're creeping up on that 1 year mark already, which is crazy because it went fast, but at the same time, the entire world's changed since then. So we've gone from in-person events to virtual events seeming normal. And I've learned a great deal about technology and learned from my mistakes with the different platforms we've used. But especially just being able to listen to all of our poets and their poetry and the different styles and the emotions that they bring and the perspectives. It's been just such a great experience, and it's been really the highlight of every month for me for the past year. So again, thank you to all the poets and the regular poets who join every time, and those of you who couldn't join tonight but usually do. And with that, I would say our new poets. So we do have one poet who's joining us tonight, and he's joining us for the first time. He's originally from St. Thomas, but he's joining us from Ohio. And it's such a pleasure to have new poets joining us on Rhyme and Lime. So please welcome Edouard. Am I pronouncing that right? Edouard Delagarde?
Everybody knows me as Eddie.
Okay. Hi, Eddie. Thank you again for joining us tonight.
All right. This poem is not finished, as you'll see why when I get to the end, but it's not a done deal. The name of the poem is If. If I'm a Black person living in this world and a member of the human race, you may wonder, why is he so mad? If discrimination, prejudice, marginalization, racial profiling, racial superiority, chattel slavery, segregation, opportunities denied, and institutional racism continue to define your life, wouldn't you be mad? If Black people threatened to call the police on you just because you are not Black, wouldn't you be mad? If Black firemen trained fire hoses on you, wouldn't you be mad? If Black people made you clean their chamber pots, wouldn't you be mad? If Blacks told you your life didn't matter, wouldn't you be mad? If Black people built an interstate highway through your neighborhood, wouldn't you be mad? If Black people had a knee on your neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, wouldn't you be mad? If black people were violent towards you and called you derogatory names, wouldn't you be mad? If black people skinned, burnt, and lynched your ancestors, wouldn't you be mad? If black people only allowed you to live in unsanitary, dilapidated houses and charge you excessive rents, wouldn't you be mad? If black people made you ride in the back of the bus, wouldn't you be mad? If black people spat on you, beat on you, and yelled nasty things at you when all you were trying to do was get something to eat at a lunch counter, wouldn't you be mad? If black people only let you swim in the pool on the day they were cleaning it, wouldn't you be mad? If black people stole you from your native land and made you work in the hot sun for nothing, wouldn't you be mad? If black people only made movies with only black people as the stars, wouldn't you be mad? If black people let you fight in wars and give your life for their and your country, and they didn't appreciate it, wouldn't you be mad? If black people banned you from swimming at the beach where only they could swim, wouldn't you be mad? If black people let you entertain them but didn't allow you to sleep in the hotel or drink at their bar, wouldn't you be mad? If black people didn't allow you to play baseball, basketball, tennis, and other sports that they played in, wouldn't you be mad? If black people only gave you 1 month to highlight your history, wouldn't you be mad? If black people assassinated the person who was fighting for your civil rights non-violently, wouldn't you be mad? If black people only allowed you to have the lowest paying jobs, wouldn't you be mad? If black people thought you were too dumb to fly a plane, wouldn't you be mad? If black men bombed your church and killed 3 young girls that looked like you, wouldn't you be mad? If black people created laws that legalized racial segregation and were meant to marginalize people who were not black, wouldn't you be mad? If black people said all lives matter and you thought it meant the equivalent of the founding fathers writing all men are created equal while owning slaves, wouldn't you be mad? If a black cop shot you in the back 7 times, left you paralyzed from the waist down, and then shackled your foot to your hospital bed, wouldn't you be mad? If you loved black people and they didn't love you back, wouldn't you be mad? If you were black, wouldn't you be mad? Thank you. As you can see, this continues.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And
Good to see you, Andy.
I will say I think we should all be mad at this point. I know I'm extremely upset, and we all should be at the state of things and how long it's taken and where we are now, and that we really haven't gotten too far. And it's 2020 and still dealing with the racism and the murders by people who are supposed to be protecting and serving. And I have, my poem is going to be something similar, so you'll see my points of view on one of my sleepless nights this week, and I just had to write it out. But thank you so much for that poem, and yes, I think we should all be mad, and it needs to stop.
Thank you.
Up next, Lily, are you ready? Okay.
Okay.
Please welcome.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This first poem, there's not a title. I'm a huge procrastinator, so it's kind of a rough draft. By this point, life may be too far up in the air. It's taken away the high chair from the children and thrown us down dinner scraps to keep our hearts going. Not enough to kill our discomfort, just enough to make us grow taller or give us strength to climb until our fingers touch the tabletop and come back cloaked in orange jelly. And this we are greedy for, because it belongs to those who can grab it, and those who can't have to wait. But at some point, the food doesn't hit our stomachs the same. All you can eat loses its flavor. And this alone is a reminder of the discomfort we felt in our time of suffering and the habits we developed during it. When we are beneath the table, some of us grow pregnant with cravings for things that are damaging, that imitate a healing and make us feel light like our wallets, caring little about abstinence, wrecking and nurturing and giving rise to conflict. And then some cravings are more subtle, so much so that no one would notice unless you admit it out loud. So I'll tell you about one of mine that started when I was young. A lineup of firm obsessions, a lifetime filled with them. Women I saw on TV whose shows I watched, whose movies I rewatched, who I followed on Instagram and whose stories I would occasionally screenshot or screen record and watch their interviews on YouTube, even though they spoke a language that I didn't understand and subtitles were not an option. It's a little bit embarrassing, really, but it's perfect. Them behind a screen, there when I need them, and they never ask for a thing. Doesn't that sound selfish? But what do we ask of medication if not the same thing? My college roommate had a strict schedule. He must have practiced piano 10 hours a day in our dorm room. His alarm was set for the ass crack of dawn, so he would get to the gym early, have breakfast, then practice piano, have lunch, then piano, eat dinner, piano. That was his habit. It's how he got by. He told me he suffered from a loss of identity, for which the piano made up for. Putting in work to master a craft so that when people hear his name, they know what he's about, like Herbie Hancock and his keyboard. His lifestyle to me seemed rigid, too harsh, too conformed, and for that I cannot hold judgment. The same way he doesn't hold judgment, but can easily laugh at my subtle cravings. So what is it about these actresses that make me hold on? It's certainly not an admiration of the craft. There are times when I watch a movie and I think, I want to be the character. Other times I think, I wish I was dating them. Put me in their world without responsibilities and I'll suffer less around pretty people. Truly though, what I like most is that they're stationary, behind the screen, any screen, and alive at the touch of a button. And they can never leave me alone. I could be anywhere on the earth and I'd know where to find them. And there's no pain in them not knowing that I even exist. So that's the first poem. I just decided to do another one that I wrote a few months ago during our first quarantine. It's called Junkyard. Okay. I took myself to the store, left the Zoom meeting because I couldn't focus. I don't know what happened. A few days ago, I was fine. Now when I look at the mountains, the way the sun hits them so definitively, they look like shapes, triangles and trapezoids. No flora, just geometry. If I drink, it makes it easier to make sense why things don't stand still like they're supposed to. I take Fireball in a plastic bag, pull my mask down just to drink from the bottle. I know the neighbors can see me from up in the hills. I'm in Rupert's junkyard, in the middle passage of the road where tufts of grass and kasha grow, where I take sips when I feel like it and see bottles of Corona and Cruzan rum to let me know I'm not the first to make this decision. Where you sit, ants will find you, like they've got no other duty but to bite and crawl and to wander into crevices that you particularly don't want them to. I'm not drunk yet, but I can guess that it's coming. I welcome it so that I can write a poem and speak it online through a glitchy microphone over unreliable Wi-Fi so that maybe people can feel what I feel and what I've felt. And so that I can know later that what I was missing was this. These words had never left my lips, but were pasted into a note section for me to remember. Because no one has to tell me it's coming. The whirlwind is in rear view. It will spin me, drag me up by my feet and hold me upside down so that I have no choice but to look down and see everything in its entirety. Those earthquakes that feel like death prolonged make my bones chatter while something hurtful and adoring drips from my nose and the corners of my mouth. And I wake up in the afternoon with selective amnesia. That's it.
Thank you. I love where your poetry takes my mind and brings me to the space. Yeah, keep writing. Please keep joining us. And
Thank you.
yeah, and I know it can be hard to read poetry, but you did a great job. And I really liked both your poems. And yeah, especially in definitely they're quarantine poems. They're poems of the era. I can
Yeah.
the comfort and the hopelessness. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you. I'll see you next month, I think.
I hope so. All right. So next, David, are you ready?
I am ready. Can you hear me?
Yep. Okay. Please welcome David Knight. You good?
Yep. Can you? I'm on. Is my microphone on?
Yep.
Okay.
You're good. We can hear you.
I've got two poems tonight. Both are fairly short. The first one is called "Truce in Lilliput." Worst of all, an indefinite truce emerged in our leisurely uptown district, a district bright with stuffed birds and short-sighted zoning, steaming with freshly dead languages. It was cleaner than it used to be. We knew this was a recipe for disaster. Tiled floors sparkled with a grudging respect. Rooftops smelled of fresh paint, no longer the indifferent hen coops and spit tobacco. All the lights turned on with foreign gestures. Hinges of doors no longer balked in shrill voices, fiery little voices, never glad or sorry for our arrivals, comforted only by the moon, gap-toothed, barely moving, a sleeping fiancée who raises her head in the middle of a dream with an amused look of disapproval. That's the first one. Second poem is called "What Makes It Run." The wind blew at our torn hats with such sincere resentment it was impossible to mind. No false respect, no sense of propriety. Life in the high cliffs overlooking town. Two worlds, fried fish and white beans, always part foreigner, but tender gestures are universal. The morning heat was like a hastily scrawled note to the future, an audible somewhere. An implacable songbird recites its unsettling operetta, full of the prejudice of young experts, waist deep in impatience. What fuels the movement of that imaginary automaton, empire? Grinding, ramshackle, yet so fragile that a single misplaced button makes it unreal.
Wow, I like that one. Thank you. What was the title of the first poem?
Truce in Lilliput. I don't know if you remember a couple Ryman Lambs ago, I had a poem called Nighttime in Lilliput, and that was kind of a sequel to it.
Okay, that's why
I have a running theory.
remembering something. Nice. Thank you. Always love your poetry. Thanks, David. All right, and we have Nathan up next. Nathan Visel.
Hello.
Hey, Nathan. Welcome. Looks like your audio is working. We didn't do any tests before you came on, so I think you're good.
You know, we like just playing it fast and loose, Jamaica. Just roll the dice.
How are you doing, Nathan?
You know, we're just all trying to keep my feet light and my head grounded, or vice versa. One of those. I don't know. Best we can. Hopefully, we can get back to a real life in-person rhyme and lime again one day, or
Yeah.
anything one day. But I'm glad we have another show tonight. I just have one poem this evening. Untitled. You know, just do it. When I say you are my ocean, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying you are vast and deep and cover 70% of my globe, even though you are those things. What I mean is that you replenish me. And sometimes I try to breathe and instead catch a throatful of you. What I mean is that you leave my eyes red and my muscles relaxed. What I mean is I feel lighter in you until I'm tired and I slip below your surface. What I mean is I am the half-drowned man and I'm still coughing up your salt. When I say you are my ocean, what I mean is that your boundaries are ever shifting and are exactly where they should be. That you take the day's colors and make them your own. You take the moon's colors and make them your own. What I mean is that your blue can be seen from space, but with all my technology, I cannot plumb your depths. What I mean is your tides are pushed and pulled by heavenly bodies, and you are unapologetic. But I keep a bottle of you on my bookshelf. When I say you are my ocean, I'm saying you are transparent until you are not. That you are buoyant and uplifting and graceful until you are not. What I mean is that you have fed generations, and I am your fisherman. I mean that you have killed generations, and I am your shipwreck. What I mean is that I've lined my home with conch shells so that I might still hear your voice. When I say that you are my ocean, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying you are vast and deep and cover 70% of my globe, even though you are those things. What I mean is that my time on you has left me tanned and wrinkled, but some of those are laughter lines. I mean that you're my horizon, and underneath you are mountains and valleys and palaces I will never see until you are gone. Ocean.
That was
Is it?
beautiful. Definitely, I think my favorite I've ever heard from you. And I said that to one other person tonight, but it's true. Yeah, it was probably your most slowly read poem as well. So,
Switch sometime. Thank you.
yeah, I don't know, those untitled poems they're really getting to me tonight. I love them. Thank you, Nathan. It was beautiful. All right, well, it looks like we've gone through our list of poets who joined us. There were a couple more who may show up, but we will, until they do, and if they do, I will go ahead and share my poem. And I want to preface it with a couple of things. One of them being that my poem's extremely raw, and I feel like I could have gone over it probably for another 6 months and tried to polish it and fix it. But it's really just from night before last, and one of those nights or mornings where I woke up 4:30 in the morning and I just had to write, and I had to get some things out of my system because I felt like I was just going to explode. But mostly, you know, the two big things that we're dealing with as a country and as the global world is, of course, the corona pandemic, but also racism and the, you know, yet another death of Black man, Black person at the hands of the police earlier this week. And I just don't know how much more we can take, and we shouldn't take anymore. And it needs to stop. And I think everyone needs to do their part to make it stop. So my poem kind of started with corona and masks, and it kind of ended with kind of a reminder that, you know, we've been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic for the past, 6 months. But, you know, Black people and people of color have been dealing with trying to survive racism for the past 400 years. So, that's what I'll say to preface my poem. And this is entitled, "The Masks We Wear." Cannot a smile be a mask to hide the pain? Tears a mask that protect us from the words we dare not speak? Technology a mask for our loneliness? Laughter a mask for our discomfort? Makeup a mask to hide our age? And now even our masks have masks. Our smiles and grimaces hidden, lipstick unseen. Only our eyes remain, windows to a world that has ceased to be familiar. We mask our emotions, we mask our words, our thoughts, even our actions. To protect who? Others or ourselves? When I put on my mask before work, it's not just a physical mask, but a mental one. With it comes a masking of the anger I feel that I have to choose between making a living and keeping me and my baby healthy and safe. With it comes a masking of the urge I have to scream, "This is not the life I want to live," as I walk into a place where I must pretend for 9 hours a day that I am happy to welcome visitors to this little island while a global epidemic rages and is closing in on us day by day. Without my mask, I might not be able to keep it all inside. My mask reminds me throughout the day that I am someone else here. At the end of the day, when I can finally remove my mask and greedily grasp fresh air, I try to remember who I am, naked, vulnerable, free from the protection of the masks I wear. But wait. As an aware white person, I would be remiss if I didn't mention masks don't hide the color of your skin, and thus do not provide people of color protection from racism and the masks of racism. In this country where white men can take their life away in an instant with a gun they claim to use as protection. And in this way, guns are a mask to protect white people from their own racism, while people of color have nowhere to run and no mask that can protect them from the fear of white men. And so, while I can breathe a sigh of relief when I take off my mask at the end of the day, people of color must wear their masks in a much different way. In every second of every day. Masks for their words, masks for their actions, masks for their emotions, to protect them from being killed for saying the wrong thing, or moving too fast, or getting visibly upset. But despite all these masks they may wear, they do not hide the color of their skin. And so these masks cannot protect them from racism that's been ingrained in every single system created by white men in this country where equality, justice, and freedom is a mask for the systematic oppression of Black men, women, and children. So while I can take off my mask at the end of the day, take off my protection, and breathe a sigh of relief, that vulnerability is a privilege, a freedom afforded to me by my white skin. So I'll say it again. Masks cannot protect Black men, women, and children from racism. No, there is no sigh of relief for them in a country where the color of their skin is a justification for their life being taken by the very authority that is supposed to provide protection. Thank you. That is my poem for the night, and
Very well said.
Thank you. Yeah, I think these times we're living in, and I just hope that all the pain and the sacrifice and the suffering that people are going through ends up turning into something good. And I think we are in the midst of some kind of a revolution, and I hope it continues and we can see some real change and get through the other side of the pandemic and the pandemic of racism as well as Corona. So thank you all again. Thank you, the audience, for watching, everyone who's watching tonight and supporting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamaica. That was a beautiful poem.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And thanks for having me.
All right, yeah, and Eduardo, I hope you join us again now that you know the drill.
How you doing, Eddie?
Good, good.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening and the rest of the month, and hope to see you again the last Saturday of September. Bye.